From what I heard, you had a lesson with Andrea where you learned the Ponziani opening, right? Yeah. Do you remember much from that lesson? Yeah, I remember it relatively. So the thing with the Ponziani, by the way, is really funny. I had a lesson with Andrea, and they were like, yeah, Ponziani's really cool. And then I played against a few people. Then I had a new lesson with Nemo. I believe it was Nemo. And they were like, oh yeah, don't. Ultimately, it's up to you. Ponziani, I think it's a very effective opening against players below, any rating below 2,000. But it takes some work to understand like what you're supposed to do. Right. So I would go G3 with the knight. I think you mean F3. You also have the ability to make moves. So yeah, you should know that. Yeah, and then knight C6. And then that C3. So the whole point of Ponziani, you just want to take over the center. And I think this is aligned with kind of your understanding of the opening. You want to get 2 pawns in the center, have good control, have nice development. Now, when you play this opening, there's a few things you kind of have to be ready for. Is what happens when black attacks your pawn. Either knight f6 or d5. And I'll go through. First of all, if black doesn't attack your pawn, like a lot of times black might play a move like d6 or bishop c5. These are like I'll call them the beginner moves. First of all, bishop c5, it's an attempt to prevent you from playing d4. It actually makes d4 stronger. Because you attack the bishop. Your pawn is supported 3 times. And if black goes for the trade, if they try taking on d4 again, you're going to B-wing material, because you'll have the last capture. Yeah. On top of that, black's going to have to move the bishop again. If they play some check, you just complete developing, and you have really nice center. Everything's defended. I play this a lot, like when I stream chess and play against viewers or noobs online, I'll get this position a decent amount, and players will walk into a trap. After d6, I'll play d5. They'll move their knights. And now white to move and win a piece. That right? Very good. Yeah, queen a4, the same tactic as previously in the Sicilian position. So, yeah, this queen a4 move will come up a lot, also in Ponziani. If they play d6, you just play d4. It's like, if they don't challenge you, you play d4. Yep, I'll show you one trap from here, which is kind of a nice one. Let's imagine they play knight f6. The move I really enjoy playing here, okay, is pawn h3. Which looks a bit strange, but the point is you're preventing the bishop from developing actively. And if they want to develop to e6, you force them. Right, so that's a simple trap. The more complicated trap is what happens if they take your pawn. Yeah, I was going to say, what if they just take it? This is a question for you. White's a move. You can win material by force. Even though you just lost a pawn, you can win one of the knights. And yeah, you could just do that. Good. Yeah, pawn d5, really nice move, removing this knight. Wow. And setting of queen a4. Yeah, you open the 4th rank and the diagonal. That's good. Very common Ponziani trap. This can also happen, like if they take first, and then take, you still have the same idea. And I can't tell you how many games I've had this. I even had this against Nemo, like I played her in the splits match. She took the pawn, I played d5, and then she resigned after queen a4. I'll play a Ponziani. Ponziani time. Fun opening. Very effective opening against like beginner players. But maybe it could be effective against her if she's not usually an e5 player. Yeah, d6 it's playable. Sometimes leads to a passive position. Oh no, my pawn. Please take it, please. If knight takes, I push, knight moves, and I fork the king and knight. It's a classic trap. Maybe she's thinking about it. Wow, it worked. Yeah, this is like, kind of unique to the Ponziani. It's a nice opening trap. I had this, 1 year at US Open. Like the first round. And now I think she's realizing, yeah. So, yeah, even strong players will lock into this. That's cool. Yeah. And that's one of the things I like with Ponziani. There's of course, approach where you're just trying to control the center and be very solid. There's also kind of these tricky traps that can catch a lot of players off guard. Let's look at like the more challenging moves. Prop starting with d5. I did look up some of your games. Like you've had this position, and you know the right move I have. It was something to do with this. Queen a4, good. Yeah, where you pressure lock very early. I know you had one game where your opponent played bishop d7, and this just loses a pawn. You take the pawn. And you're okay with discoveries. The worst black can do to you is knight d4. Hitting a queen. You just move back. If they take, you take. Now, I know the one game, I don't know how recent it was, but you played knight a3 in this position. It did? I believe so. Okay? It may have been a while ago. I just kind of... What I did, I downloaded all your games and then looked into this opening. What you would want to do is focus on your kingside development, get your king castled, and also defend this pawn. Yeah, it would be something like bishop to bishop c4, a great move. Yeah, and then you just want to play d3, castle, bishop g5. Even if you end up losing back a pawn, then it's just equal material, and you'll have a fine position. What a lot of players will do is take on e4. Like they'll see the pain, but they say, "Oh, you can trade pawns." And this is a move I encounter most online. And here, you keep your queen on a4, you win the e5 pawn. We're creating this pin. And now you have a double attack. You're threatening to take on c6, but also to take on e4. So the only way black can defend everything is to play queen d5. So defend, this is actually a very multi-purpose move, defending, attacking. You very simply tip back on c6. And you're not quite winning material here, unless black takes with the queen. Then your eyes should light up, because what does white do? Bishop to b5, bishop b5, then go, and you win the queen. So black would have to take with the pawn. And then the problem for black is the structure is really, really weak. c6 is weak, e4 is weak. And look, I'm starting to like the Ponziani more now. That's my goal, is to make you like it, to give you some confidence, to prove all the doubters wrong. Yeah, and you continue here with bishop c4. Black doesn't have time to develop the minor pieces because the queen's hit. You're still pressuring the pawns. The queen has to stay defending this pawn. Black might play a move like this. Then you just castle, get your rook in. There's a concept in chess that's called developing with tempo, or developing with attack, where you bring in pieces to the game while making threats. So bishop c4 is developing with tempo. Rook e1 will develop, and it gives you time, and it slows down the opponent from completing their own development. And a plan like this and this, black's gonna be under major pressure. Right. So, I know we're going through like a lot of different lines, but that was basically after d5, queen a4. I think you know enough to look forward to going into that. If black doesn't play d5, the most common move is knight f6. which I've seen you've had a lot of games in, and you've never played the right move in this position. Oh, okay. I think you've usually been concerned about your pawn. You've played either d3 or queen c2. I'm just trying to be solid. The rule in Ponziani, if black doesn't play d5, you play d4. No matter what. But d5 is met with queen a4, everything else is met with d4. So now 6, you play d4. And you are allowing black to win a pawn, but you're going to win it straight back. So the two main moves here for black are either takes or takes. Whatever black does, you're going to push a pawn forward. Push and attack one of the knights. Yeah, so let me test you. If black takes this pawn, what you do is do d5, yeah. And if black takes this pawn, you push to e5. Awesome. Let's start with the sign. Okay, because I think it's most common, you'll push d5. I can't tell you how many times I've had this position where black will go wrong, because there's only one good knight move for black, which a lot of players just don't play. I should pose this to you as a question, if you were a black, what would you do with your knight? Realistically, I would put it in e4, and just think about it. That's one of the main mistakes here for black. The reason this is a mistake is because after queen e2, the knight's attacked again. Black would really want to defend it with a pawn, let's say d5. But how can you really punish black here? En passant, yeah, okay, you know it. I saw you en passant yesterday. The crowd was going wild. Here it's extra powerful, because not only do you remove the defender of the knight, but you vacate the e-file, so now the knight is pinned to the king. On top of that, you're controlling e7, so black doesn't have queen e7. Right. And the knight is attacked and pinned if bishop to f5. I'm actually trying to remember. I think just knight d2 and you're going to win the knight. Black doesn't have another way to defend. Right. So, after queen e2, black's already in trouble. If they play knight c5, you take. Again, you keep your initiative, you keep making threats, and knight's being kicked around to some awkward square. If here you can fork. And, yeah, you're actually not winning material here, because knight d4, but, you can trade, and just you're fully dominating the center with great position. So, that's very, very cool. Yeah, again, one of the reasons why I like Ponziani is there's so many ways for black to go wrong. If black plays this move, or this move, you just take, and you have really nice center pawns, very easy development. Same thing with queen e7, which a lot of players will play thinking they're so clever, they're pinning your pawn, they're attacking it twice. But after you take, black is in a situation where now the bishop is stuck behind the queen. And the king can't easily castle. And the king's going to be stuck in the center for longer. If they try and play d6 attacking your pinned pawn, you respond with a counter pin. And that way you reinforce e5. If there's a trade, you just take back. And you're going to have a really nice position. Black can't win the pawn. Maybe black could try with knight g4. But then you just castle. Don't even attempt to defend the pawn. Now, in this position, you can say, oh no, my pawn, if I can win it. But if they win it, how do you punish them? Oh, this is rook e1, yeah. It's a very common theme in Ponziani, where you castle sooner than your opponent. You get to the e-file. If the center is open like this, there is bound to be some problems for black. Okay, so I'm trying to be thorough here, but going back to this position, the only good move for black is knight d5. So, saving the knight, putting it on a good central square. And here, I'll show you show you like 2 more moves and then you'll be good to go. Okay. The first move I recommend is Queen B3. Not taking the pawn yet, but just improving. This is another developing with tempo move. You activate your queen, and you make a threat. The only good square for the knight is back to b6. And then you take on d4. And this is really all you need to know, at least in this specific variation. If you get to this position, great center, more space, easy development with your bishops. Maybe one more tip: if Flach ever moves a d-pawn, the best for your bishop is to b5 to pin the knight. I had a game once against an 1800 rated player. They played d5. I played bishop b5. They checked me. White to move. Hey, you could just take the bishop. Yeah, you just take the bishop, yeah. You just take it. Yeah, knight was pinned. I won't resigned after this, so yeah, a nice little trap. So bishop b5 is nice because you pin the knight, but you prevent black from developing actively. Right, yeah. So, yeah, if you got this, you're good to go. This is actually one of the main lines in the Ponziani, so, it's possible. If you play the Ponziani correctly, you could get this a decent amount. Let's go back. Actually, this is very cool. Oh, right, now the yellow pawn. Now the other pawn, yeah. So, if knight takes e4, we push to d5. You push to d5. Good. Right. The knight's attacked. Most players will play knight e7. And now you just win back the pawn. You take on e5. Yep. And now I want to pose this as a question. Let's imagine you're playing black here. What move would you play? Maybe either d6 or probably d6. Yeah, d6 is like the most natural intuitive move, like open up the bishop, attack the knights. d6 is a terrible, terrible blunder. Yeah, okay. So now let's flip a situation. White's a move and punish this move. White's not going to be retreat. Oh, right, all right, okay, I see it now. You can win the knight. With what? Good. Okay, so good. It's good you remember Queen A4. You actually have a better move here. Queen A4 actually trades after Bishop D7. You win the knights. Then you lose back your knights. Yeah, that's true. Although maybe Knight D7 you're still doing well. There's a more powerful move. See, this is scary, right? I'm not against this because I feel like it's something to do with check. You have the right idea. It's just about kind of being confident with execution, right? To try and make things as simple as possible, you're checking the king. Only way for a black to go, check is to block. You're controlling both these squares more times than black. So if black plays c6, well, actually, first of all, if black plays bishop d7, you take. Okay, now you're going to win the game. Yeah, that's true. If c6, you can take. And now you leave your knight undefended, but if takes, this is where things get really fun. Like to move. Give that. You just take, and you're going to be making the new queen. If bishop here, yeah, the queen, I would say, you could also take first. I would say take first, because if, oh, I guess they can take with the, oh no, they can't take with the king. There is so many ways to win this, like takes on d7, or it takes making a new queen. Everything works. The reason why I like to take here is because after takes, it's immediately mate. Right, they can't take. But if you want to, like, there's so many ways to torture black too. Like, you could take and takes, and then you make a queen, and then you have two queens, and black's already dead here. Yeah. The best try for black is to take back with pawn. But then you have time just to win material on c6. You take, you set up the discovery. And if there's a trade, this is a really nice tactic. Oh, wow. Oh, that's a lot. A knight's hand, too. Yeah. And if here, you actually don't take the rook, because then gets the bishop for it. You just take the knight. Yeah, if you take the rook, you're only up 2 points. And then knights 3, right? Yeah. I actually want to test you one move further, queen e7. What would you play? I might just do queen e2. Queen e2 completely fine. If you want it to be tricky, castling is a cool move, where you say, oh no, my bishop, that you win the queen. So, oh yeah, I at least forgot about that. You're right. So I think castling is a bit more useful, because you get out of the pain and you have your setups by rook e1. So whenever the king and queen are aligned like this, and the file's open, just try and get your rook to the e-file as quickly as possible. Yep. Anyway, yeah, someone is pointing out in my chat, like, I like that castling one. That was cool. Yeah, there's like so many of these ideas will come up in different types of positions, but even different types of openings. So, yeah. Going back to this key position, we were just looking at takes, pawn push. Here, you take back. So it's a blunder for black to play d6 because of bishop b5. If black knows what they're doing. Sorry? I guess we have f6. It was f6. But this would... Actually, f6 is kind of interesting. I'd really want to punish this move, like looking for queen h5, but then there's g6, so... You see if there's any way to punish this move immediately. Yeah, with f6, you just move back. And this pawn is a bit out of place. And you just want to play bishop d3, Rance the teacher. I want 1, 2, and then use in a better position. Exactly, like you're going to have more potential to attack, like you're going to castle sooner. If knight g6, which is probably the best move for black. Again, you just takes bishop d3, castling. Very stable position. Nothing much to worry about. Really, because now, oh, they do have the file. That's true, but you're attacking the knight. Okay, so the knight will probably move back. Yeah, I remember this. This is reminiscent of what we looked at earlier. You're okay castling into this, because worst case scenario, you just play h3 and they can't really do much. And the prospect of rook e1 is much more powerful. You're also bishop f4 if you wanna, be solid. Of course, depending what black does. If black tries to win the pawn, then the knight's left undefended, aligned with your queen. Actually have a nice kind of tactical shot here, bishop takes g6. Yeah, I was thinking that. It looks good. And yeah, then, black's really underdeveloped, rook e1's coming, the knight's attacked. Life is really good here. So I tried to give you like the Ponziani in a nutshell. I know we went kind of deep into Lavi's lines. You're more than welcome to like review this. This will all be saved in the VOD too. But I'd recommend like trying it out in practice. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try the Ponziani a little bit more now. Cool. Rewatch the VOD. Really, just don't do the wrong move in the Ponziani. Because I feel like I have played the Ponziani before. I feel like I just don't necessarily make the right move at the right time. That's why I wasn't too keen on it yet. Yeah, sometimes when learning a new opening, if you go wrong early, then you're just left in an unpleasant situation. But if you know the right ideas and the kind of right sequences, then it can be a lot more enjoyable to play. And a lot of it is just putting in like the practice, like getting it in your games. If you run into something you weren't sure what to do or not so comfortable with, try to make note of it. If you have questions, feel free to just reach out. But be cool to like see you playing this in games and just see how it goes.